Hi everyone, I just wanted to give a brief overview of our topic this week, which is public law and the United States Code. So as our textbook mentions, law is the foundation of government information and what we do as government information librarians. So we really need to be familiar with all the different types of law. And there are 4 types. You have the Constitution, you have statutory law, you have administrative or regulatory law, and you have case law, which is produced by private publishers for the most part. Law is considered a primary source, but there are also secondary legal resources, and those are resources that are about the law. Some examples include law review articles, case books, digests, treaties. And all of those secondary legal resources are primarily published from private sources. The United States government doesn't typically produce secondary legal resources. So to be well-rounded in the law and providing support for patrons, we need to be familiar with the law itself and those secondary legal resources. So last week we learned about Congress, and we all understand the process of how a bill passes through the House and the Senate and then gets signed into law by the President. So a bill is enacted given a public law number, and it's published as a slip law, and this is the first official form of enacted law. From the slip law, we have those public laws are compiled chronologically, and that's published in the statutes at large, or more commonly known as session law. And the statutes are a permanent form of laws that supersede those individual slip laws that were published. From the statutes and that chronological compilation, we then codify by subject, and that is what you find in the United States Code. And the United States Code represents the law as it is currently in force at the time. But it's important to note that not everything is in the U.S. Code. Only the laws of a general and permanent nature find their way into the United States Code. Everything else is in the statutes at large, but some laws may be filtered out and not placed in the U.S. Code. And the U.S. Code currently has 54 titles. So since session laws are compiled chronologically, it can make them really challenging to search unless you already know the specific citation you're looking for, right? So the codified laws in the United States Code are easier to search because of those groupings by title and subject. Now you can find these online. The U.S. Code and the statutes at large are both available from GovInfo. And then right now, as an LSU student, you have access to Hein Online, which provides access to both as well. But in addition to federal law, we also have to be aware of how to provide access to our state laws. And we're going to focus on Louisiana, where we have our state legislature website, where you can find laws issued by the legislature, so statutes and codes, as well as the state's constitution. So if we pull this up, here we can see their website, where they have all of their laws that are searchable. So we have a table of contents where you can pull up the revised statutes if you don't know the citation that you're looking for, and you can go through all of the titles and search in there. If you know a citation, you can easily plug it in here, the title in the section, hit view, and that'll immediately come up. If you don't know the citation, however, but you know the appropriate search terms, you can also search by keyword. But I just want everyone to be aware that this does not function as easily as Google. You got to be really precise in your search. So if a law is about a canine, but you search dog, it's not going to appear for you in this search. Your search also won't bring back any results if there are any extra words in it. So you really need to keep it really tight and limited to just 1 or 2 specific search terms. This page is not the easiest to search when you're working with it, but there is the Pointer Legislative Research Library located within the Capitol that may be able to assist if you ever run into any speed bumps when you're trying to help somebody out. So as librarians, we need to be familiar with the law, and we should be able to assist patrons in finding the law. But it's important that I make this clear that we can't go beyond that step. So I mean that we cannot interpret or apply the law for our patrons. So that means we can't validate or give an opinion as to help them reach a legal conclusion. That is what attorneys are for. So given that, sometimes we just don't have the appropriate knowledge that we need to assist patrons with legal reference questions. And at that point, it's important to know that you can refer them to law libraries where they can get assistance, and there's even some librarians who also hold a JD and can help them. So we have the LSU Law Library on campus, but you can also refer them to the Law Library of Louisiana and the Louisiana Supreme Court. They have some LibGuides that they have posted online that are very, very useful. They have services for all of these different groups. So for self-represented litigants, which is the majority of people that you will encounter in a depository library, especially if you're in a public library, you'll get a lot of self-represented litigants who are looking for resources and who are looking for you to, one, maybe help them fill out forms, and two, to advise them on which law they should be looking for. At that point, you should feel free to refer them to the Law Library of Louisiana. They are excellent. They provide excellent resources and assistance to those types of patrons. And again, they also have library research guides that you can utilize and the basics of legal research. It's all very informative, and I encourage you to check it out and familiarize yourself with it. So for this week, we have a two-part assignment. We're going to talk about the U.S. code. We'll have some questions about that, and then we'll have some questions about accessing the state code. So go ahead, read through your chapter, kind of play around with the statutes at large and the U.S. code online, get a feel for how they function. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, and good luck with the assignment.